All right, hey, good morning, everyone. Welcome to the Blueprint, the podcast where we look at entrepreneurial insights, everyone's journeys, the best minds in the business world, and inspirational stories and people that are on that journey currently. This is where we want to spark your ambition. We're going to spark that passion back up again, dig a little bit deeper where you guys can come in. Maybe you guys are going through the same situation, having the same questions, or maybe you're also on that same journey. Let's start. Welcome again, first episode of the podcast. I'm here with Jedi Bishop. He is an entrepreneurial director, if that's correct, right? Is that the
Yes,
title
sir.
you would say you are?
Yeah, I would say I'm a director, videographer, filmmaker. That's where I would kind of classify myself right now.
Gotcha. So, in your highest form of success, Jedi, introduce yourself, please, to our audience members.
So I've been doing film and video for the last professionally for the last 4 years. I've been going after it since I was 18. I'm 24 now. And recently I've gotten to be on like independent film sets, got to travel to Philadelphia and Pennsylvania, got to film in Nashville, Murfreesboro, and not just like little shorts, but Viking films, horror films. Got to go meet some really cool people at some like Comic Cons. So that's kind of what I do right now. That's where I've been delving in my success right now.
Great, great. So, you, in my opinion, I mean, that sounds like you're on the right path. You're still on that journey, and it sounds like you still have a lot more to come. Uh,
Yes.
Tell us where all this started. How was this when it first became a process for you? Tell me that story of how you got into it.
So I can tell you that originally it was like back in my teenage years where, YouTube was like a big thing developing right then. Like everyone was posting videos. First it was the funny videos, then it turned into tutorial videos. And I found myself falling into watching action films and watching how action films were made and how did a camera get set up to do this shot. And when I first started out, I was literally filming with a phone. I was just walking around my Android, grabbing my brothers at the time, being like, "Hey, let's go film something." And now today, I'm standing next to like big O cams, like a red camera, black magic, and then like I'm looking to my left, and there's like a big old audio setup and actors and everything, and it's still insane because filmmaking it's very patient. So you got to be patient with everything. People think films get done in like 1 month. In reality, it takes like a year or two. And thankfully, I got to see that growth and got to meet a lot of really cool people. It's been really, I don't know. It's just that this is one of my it's like one of those dream jobs. You're like, oh, a kid. You're like, I want to make movies. I want to make like big stories and be creative. And now I'm doing that. Like first time I met you, JJ, we made a Western years ago, and now I made a Viking set, and now I've made someone die on film. It's been
Yeah.
a hell of a ride. I love it.
That was an honor. I believe that was the first time I we had met,
Yes,
um,
sir.
working on Mandy Chambers. That was, I mean, I had lots of fun. Definitely sparked some creativity, and yeah, I think creativity is definitely the right word to describe it. It's just it brings your inner child out. It
Oh,
doesn't even
yes.
feel like work, you know?
No, it doesn't. It feels like I have a good friend of mine. He says it feels like you're playing imagination, but you're doing a job for it. It's awesome.
Right, right. And then you mentioned earlier when you were talking about how you first started, how you started off with your brothers filmmaking. How important is that family structure for you? Is that still something you use in your business nowadays, or tell us more about who helps you behind the scenes, some of that.
Yes. So I'll say I think family is a big importance. Even in my journey of film set, I was thankful and blessed to have 7 siblings. So ultimately have a crew and actors, and we grew up just like messing around, making little things. And my siblings and my parents still help me out to this day. Like my dad was like one of the first people who bought me a camera. He'll buy me little things whenever I need it. Still, even when I'm like, no, I got it, and he'll just surprise me. And I still kind of push that family instinct even on set with new people, and now like people I've had for years on set. Like we don't view it just as like a job or oh we're gonna go work with that team. We view it as like, oh, we have to go see my family, and we love it. When filming Manny Chambers, we have Chip and Tracy Humphreys who would like make home cooked meals, and that's another kind of thing I like to do with film sets. That's something you don't really know, like, but usually they buy like pizza or they buy something quick to grab, which is great. I totally understand. You know, we're running on a budget, but I always try to even implicate like a home cooked meal. It just kind of helps with that family vibe. You know, you get to eat something, you get to just eat something warm, and you sit around and you talk about the day, or you kind of reflect on the day. And I think that's definitely helped with my growth and made better connections for the future, where I've had people then help me out with projects, just offering.
And then, so that family networking, that family um, orientation that you guys have, working together, being really tight knit. What would you say your favorite project is that you've worked on so far, and why?
Ooh, that's gonna be hard. I've loved every project, but I think I love doing Mandy Chambers when we did it because that was like the first big kick, and then after that, I think I would say I'll say actually right now it's a project that's actually coming about to come out soon, which I know it's not out, but I would say it's my favorite one because it hits close to home actually for a lot of us in the cast, and I can't reveal the title yet because it's actually a surprise for a buddy of mine's family member, and I'll leave it at that. And I would love to kind of share more about it, but we're kind of putting a lot more into it. It's our first drama, um, our first just straight through pure acting, and I've had the best crew and cast where they've brought their like one day we had to ask for a bunch of extras, and they're like, one person's like, hey, I can just invite my whole family in this area. 20 people showed up, their cousins, their grandmothers, their grandfathers, and they were just like, yeah, we want to help you out. And they did this whole scene with us, hung out with us the whole day, and I have had the best memory so far on this project.
So you're doing this project. I know you said you don't want to mention too much of it because it's a surprise and it's an upcoming project.
Yes, sir.
Uh, but to me, it sounds like you almost like giving back to your community, your loved ones. You like giving back. Do you work with anything like that? Do you kind of give back to others? What's something that like inspires you to kind of give?
That's a great question. Yeah, I've always found myself like the day jobs I've done and like still do at times around film is like always involved with the community. And I think that's a big factor in not just film, but I think in growth and I think in personal development is finding those people that you like think well with, or that community you think well with. And it doesn't have to be just one community. It could be like your film community, could be your I go to the gym often, my gym community. And I think that's great because then you're sharing things with each other and you're growing with each other. And this project has definitely been a give back because this one person has been a great supporter of not just like my team, but like this one individual, my best friend basically, and has been very, very supportive of us. So we're making a film just for this person to kind of like, hey, this little short story you think nothing would happen with, well, let's kind of make it big as much as possible as we can. And that's like another goal of film is I don't want to just like make your big old films with no money and try to do what I can in indie field, but make something where the audience can connect with. A phrase is like the I did for my brand is like the moments overlooked are the stories we tell. So it's kind of in a way so it feels more close to home with like smaller communities, low income especially, and anything that's not usually seen on the big screen. I want to like put on the screen so the community can feel that. And anyone who wants to be involved, I'm also like, come on, just come help out or come hang out with us for a day.
Right. So now that brings me to my next question, right? You've worked on projects where it involves a lot of creativity, a lot of imagination. But from what it sounds like, you're also working on projects that are potentially true stories that kind of resonate, something that's already happened, something you want to just raise awareness about.
Yes.
People who want to brainstorm in any field or any, but specifically, director and filmmaking, somebody who wants to maybe struggles with creativity or thinking outside of the box. How
Hmm.
is it that you're able to kind of create compelling stories or even make a film that would resonate with audience members?
I think that's gonna go back again to the community of it is I've written scripts by myself and put my personal experience in there and put my own twists and my own creativity ideas in there. But then I take that script or I take that idea and I go over to like one person like, so can you read this and tell me what works and what doesn't work? And with this film especially that we've been working on, we bounce ideas off each other. Like there are times where, obviously the director's the director, like it's just like a business. The person in charge is the person in charge. However, when it comes to being creative, you want to bounce ideas off each other. You want to be like, all right, can this work? And you need a community to make a film. Like I can't just be the director and hold the camera and do all this. I need that one person. Lucas Dunn, he's a filmmaker up in Knoxville. He's my DP for this project, and I'll just say like I couldn't pick the shots that he did in this film. He is very particular. And then like the person who's my first AD, they are in charge of like making sure like we get done by time, we eat lunch. That's like it's like hey, you got 15 minutes. Gotta hurry it up. So I think when you're being creative, and you're going into this field, be willing to meet people. Be willing to just say, hey, how can I help you out?
So
Because
that your success is definitely built on your network, is what you're saying.
yes, sir.
Gotcha.
Long-winded
Yeah.
way to be like, you just don't feel like you have to do it by yourself. Take the risk in meeting people, because sometimes that's the best thing. And I even say like that because you don't know how many people you're going to go through to find your community.
Right.
Um,
And I
you
love that. I love that piece of advice there, which would lead me to my next question
yes,
is
sir.
if you had any golden advice for upcoming film directors or upcoming entrepreneurs who want to make it big in the film
Mm-hmm.
industry, or even just like marketing, like somebody who's in
Yeah.
the marketing team, somebody who creates videos for big businesses or
Mm-hmm.
things like that, people who need to be a little bit more creative and think outside the box, what would your golden rule or golden piece of advice be for people listening in like that?
I would want to first say, be patient, because you're gonna have this great idea if it's marketing or if it's being just a creative in this field. You're gonna have a great idea, and it may take a minute to get it right or get it the way you want. I've done personally some marketing videos for some businesses, and those even take time. Where it's like they have this great idea they want, and you're trying to translate it. So be patient is my first thing I would say, and then I feel like the next thing is I like to say is be honest. And by that I mean I would say it to my actors, and I would say it to my DP. Whenever you're trying to get something across, if you're marketing a business, well, what's their goal? What are they trying to get across? If you're making one video for them, I usually ask, so what's the purpose of this video? What do you want them to feel at the end of this video? So be honest. That's how I would phrase it, is be patient and be honest, because that's going to be the best things you get in the world, even as besides filmmaking or being creative, is let time let time do its magic, and you be honest, and a lot of good can come from that.
I would definitely say consistency as well, because like you
Consistency
said,
for sure.
you've been doing it since you were 18. I mean, and you're still not at your end goal for sure.
No, sir.
I can tell that just from our previous conversations in the past. I know you know big dreams is even if you
Mm-hmm.
only get halfway through where you're wanting to go and get to. I mean, that's
Mm-hmm.
still a significant amount of
Yeah.
level, you know.
Yeah, yeah. That's the other side of it, is like I think is you 100% need to be consistent. You got to always put a little bit in every day, and then I think for some of those people who are entrepreneurs, you don't want to get too comfortable, if you know what I mean by that. You don't want to be like, oh, I'm good here.
Right.
Always find a new goal. Okay, you maybe get this done. What's the next thing? And that's why I love that I'm in the filmmaking world, because there's always something you want to do. You're like, all right, cool. What's the next film, or
Right.
what's the next project we can do?
Stay hungry.
Yes, sir.
Stay
Always.
hungry. Okay. And then how do you deal with criticism? Right? I know
Mm-hmm.
the film industry it's never easy, right? There's like
No.
Rotten Tomatoes, popcorns, different ratings like that, things that
Yes.
people throw at you. How is it that you deal with criticism, and do you ever turn it into a positive, or do you just kind of accept criticism and try to see what you can do better? Tell me a little bit more how you take criticism and what you do with it.
I always try to listen to every single criticism, even the little trolls. And I don't mean to be disrespectful, but I've had those.
Hmm.
I want to say real quick, when you start seeing those little comments from like people just kind of being rude on your films or whatever, you just take them as they are. Some people just feel the need to say that. But even outside of that, I listen to every criticism. I've had people watch a film and go, I wouldn't do it that way. Here's how I would do it. And I would hear them out. And then I would have some kind of just tear it apart. But you got to listen to them, because in filmmaking especially, there's going to be people who love a film, and there's going to be people who hate a film. And I think honestly that's the best thing to do with film. It causes what's the word I'm looking for? Like an opinion, you know, it causes different effects from people. So when you hear the criticism, take it as it is. You don't have to add more to it. You don't have to think, oh, maybe they meant this way. I would just take it as it is
Okay.
and see how you reflect off of that. You know, what did you take from that? If it's like, oh, you know what, I do understand what they mean here. Or if it's something that doesn't match, like they were thinking about something totally different, like they're on their idea, then just listen to them and hear them out because you never know. It may help you out in the future.
You potentially even build on it is
Yes.
right.
Because, I mean, in filmmaking, especially for us, it opinions there is very creative opinions. You know, it's like, I would have done it this way and I would have put the camera here. And if you hear them out, maybe you could have been like, you know what, that's a good idea. I'm going to do that for the next film. Or it's like, you know what, that's a great idea. How about we talk later and let's see what we could come up with. I've done that actually. I've had someone come up with me and gave me a criticism, and I'm like, you know what, let's keep talking. And we then decide to work together on a film. So you never know. You may meet people who you may be like, oh, that's a harsh criticism, but really they're just trying to give you the honest truth so you can keep moving forward.
So tell us now a little bit about your current. So you've told us where you started, how
Mm-hmm.
you kind of got there, how you kind of take things, and how you've been building up your business step by step. What position are you in now? And then what are your ultimate goals? Like your ultimate goals, like you
Mm-hmm.
have to reach this point before we pass away or something.
Yeah.
Tell me more on that.
So currently, I've been grateful in that I've expanded my team. So now I have multiple video editors for me. Before it was like I was working with a lot of freelancers. Now I have like people who are dedicated to my brand Ambient Hour, and we have teams, and we have right now I think around 9 different projects that got sent into us, and even more on top of that. So it looks like we're gonna be busy, but now we, you know, we're all looking at like, okay, how can we make a little extra income to kind of get these projects done and get some more goals going. So that's where I'm at right now. Where I want to be, the dream would be brick and mortar. You know, it right now it's just kind of like I do it from my home and we do it, you know, on film sets and outside of that. But I would love just a production building where we have the setup, we have like a green screen setup where the editors could be, and that we just keep making independent films. And outside of that, like we're about to start doing more bloopers, more BTS, more interviews to really connect with our audience more, because that's been something we've noticed is that we've grown our audience, and I would like to give them, you know, some more like, oh, how did you do this? Well, here's a video. If they have a question, we would want to interact with our audience, and that's my ultimate goal, is not just to do films, but to make an audience of filmmakers or film gurus or whoever loves this, to just kind of interact with them and maybe answer some questions back for them.
And then I guess I want to ask some just personal motivation, some
Mm-hmm.
personal advice that you might want to give someone who basically, meaning you, if you were
Yeah.
talking to yourself at 18, right, or
Mm-hmm.
17-year-old you, before this was becoming a thought process, before you leaped into the filmmaking industry, what would you do different? What would you tell them? Give yourself a piece of advice here to just kind of skyrocket your success.
I think if I were talking to like 18-year-old me who was like, yep, I want to do this, it would be you know, that typical phrase, it ain't gonna be pretty. Like it's gonna be there's gonna be like I've worked on a lot of film sets where I've slept on floors. And you know that you know that's just one little part of it, but sometimes it's gonna be you may have to spend a little more money on a film or spend money to go get to a set and be poor for the next 2 weeks and be bound, you know, be holding on $10 because you know, especially now, not trying to go down this route, but you know, the economy has risen in many different ways in the last few years,
Right.
and I'm you know, I'm not trying to go down that route. I'm trying to stay off that, but like being honest, there, I would tell that person, you know, be humble and be patient, because you're gonna get a lot of creatives, you're gonna get a lot of people who've been doing it for a while, or even new people who are gonna be harsh, who are gonna be rude, and you just gotta know that, you know, that's just not your community right there, and to just keep working, keep failing. That's the biggest thing. Keep failing, because you're gonna learn from that mistake. You make one film and it doesn't hit, well, what did you do wrong? Go do it again. And I think back then, being younger, and I think a lot of us experience this, is like you don't want to make a mistake. You don't want to you want to be perfect. You want to be close to perfect as possible. And you still want to, but if you make a mistake, don't let that stop you. Keep going, keep being consistent. Keep working hard. Like for me, that's why I go to the gym, or I make sure I wake up at a certain time. Those little habits especially help you with your success.
So you would say someone who's just with a thought in a business process to definitely have a schedule is what I'm hearing. Get yourself a
Yes, sir.
schedule, stick
Yep.
to that schedule, stay
Mm-hmm.
consistent with it. And then for you, the gym is important.
Yeah.
Um, and why is that? How do you correlate that with business?
For me, it's like a self-reflection. You go in there, you hit your weight, you hit your reps, but you're also just to yourself. It's like one of the few spaces to yourself. Yeah, you have a few buddies there in the gym, but it's just if you do it little by little, you start seeing that progress. It kind of teaches you 1% a day, or that little rep a day can get to a bigger scale. I've been now working out consistently for, I think, for like 3 years, and that has been a part of this film growth, and it's kind of taught me, oh, okay, so if I do a little bit here, it's gonna bring something more in the future. So I think gym for me is teaching consistency, teaching uh discipline.
Did you ever have a moment of doubt when you first started your film making
One
business? And
one
then
hundred percent had a moment of doubt.
how did you overcome that? Like, I'm sure everyone has those moments of doubts, right? But then,
Yeah.
like, especially when you're first starting out, but how did you really overcome that? How did you push over those boundaries and over that barrier? What made it click for you?
Just a question that had to be asked multiple times, I'll be honest. Is this what you want to do? Is this really what you want to do? And if you didn't have it, like if you didn't do this, what else would you do? And
Right.
I kept asking myself that. It's just like, do you want this? Do I want to do this? Okay, let's say I didn't have it. What would you do? And I could never answer that question, for the longest time. So there was a period, I'll be honest, I went for a few months where I was like really questioning that, like, do I want to do this? Like, I wasn't doing film at all. And then I want to say maybe 3 or 4 months after that, I was like, okay, this is what I want to do. And since then, every day, anytime I have that little doubt, it's no, this is what you want to do. You don't have an option B. If you have an option B, then go, consider option B. But if you don't, then why not go for it? We live once. It may be a great story. Maybe you'll get there and it'll be a great story to tell because you're on a new adventure. But I say, ask that question. What else are you gonna do if it
Right.
wasn't this?
There is no plan B.
That's right. There is no plan B.
And it sounds like you're saying happiness is key as well.
Oh yeah, happiness is definitely key. Um, I think you got to be happy with what you're doing. If you're not, I don't know. I've never been appealed to that just stereotype of go get a job, work this, blah blah. I'd rather be happy in what I'm doing. I'd rather enjoy what I'm doing. It's never about, for me, how much money can I make and be whatever, how much is this job? It's what will I enjoy every day? And filmmaking's been that for me.
Great. So before we wrap up, Jedi,
So
I want you to just kind of talk about Ambient Hour Productions because that's your productions, correct?
yes, sir.
Ambient Hour. Tell us where people can kind of check out your projects, where they can kind of check you out, look at some of your work, and really give you and your team a shout out. Anybody you feel, and words of motivation afterwards. Talk about whoever you want to send a message to, and things of that sort.
So Ambient Hour is on YouTube, Ambient Hour or Ambient Hour Productions on YouTube, Facebook, and Instagram. We're right now trying to work up on a TikTok. It's just been a while, but if you want to see our films, go to the YouTube. We got a lot of films about to come out actually here in October. Give us a shout out, comment on some films. Feel free to ask any questions. And then I think we also have a link in there if you ever want to help support us as well. The only thing right now that we've been making a lot of extra money on is our merchandise website. So if you want to help, just give us support there. I got a great friend, Allie Nelson. She makes all of our merchandise for us. So that just kind of goes straight to her. It's been really awesome. I always want to say again, thank you and appreciate to my team. I mean, community and team is the biggest key I've learned. And I could not be where I'm at without those people. And anyone I've worked with, they've been great. I think always be willing to do that. So anyone I've worked with, thank you to them. And then motivation, I just say, it's just keep going. Maybe today is not the day, but just keep going to tomorrow, see what happens, and keep
Maybe
asking
not
that.
today,
Yeah,
maybe not tomorrow, but someday.
that's right. Because there's gonna be that day you're gonna be like, yeah, this is why I do it. For me, for a film set, it's when it's late at night, you're tired after 12, 15 hours, and like one of your buddies is like just hungry looking for your Sour Patch Kids as you're like playing with the camera. Those moments, especially, it's just those little moments of your friends or with your family. It's awesome. I say keep going. If it ain't today, keep going till tomorrow. If it ain't tomorrow, just keep on going after that.
Well, thank you, Jedi. I appreciate this conversation. I think it's been very insightful. I'm sure some of our listeners are going to be resonating and connecting. We've all felt that way. We've all been there, especially with creating a business, starting that business. Those moments of doubts, criticism is part of every industry. And I'm sure we have ups and downs. You're still on the up and up. I mean, you still have those ultimate goals to get to the brick and mortar area. It sounds like you're staying busy. You have those projects coming in. You have that merch store. So everyone, I mean, Ambient Hour Productions, great people, great team. Be family oriented. Love your network. Just to recap, we're hitting all these highlights here. I just think it's been very insightful. Thank you, Jedi, again.
Hey, thank you for bringing me on, sir. It's really been an honor, and I appreciate being on the first episode. And JJ, I appreciate you considering the talk. And this podcast, I really cannot wait to see what you do with it. This is a great idea that you're working on right now. I can't wait for the people you talk with and who you get to meet with, and you get to share what they got.
Well, great. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. We're excited to launch this off, kick that off. I'm currently just transitioning from the radio industry. I had that radio show out of Cleveland, Tennessee, but I decided just to kind of transition away from that, work a little bit more on my own terms, because at the end of the day, we love giving back to the community. We love getting networking together. I share some of those same beliefs with you, Jedi. You're definitely hitting the nail, right on it. And remember, guys, welcome again to the Blueprint. Thank you for listening to our first episode. If you want to know about more real estate insights and things like that, follow me on TikTok at jj.estates or the Richardson Group at KW Cleveland. You can definitely look us up on Google. We're just all over the place here, okay? Number one real estate firm in River Counties, okay? Thank you, Jedi Bishop, again. I appreciate all your hard work. Can't wait to see your films that you said October, right? Those are your
Yes,
next
sir.
projects coming up?
Yes, sir. We'll have a film come out in October.
All right. Thank you so much, Jedi. See ya.
See ya. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.